Either it's a common magician and always have something interesting to show you. So I've got a ring here. This would look kind of familiar. We just kind of examined this recently, but I want to take another quick look at it. I've got a ring, borrowed ring, and what we're going to do is we're going to place the ring into the napkin over here. And see if we can kind of hold it right here so you can see it. And you can actually touch that. Go ahead and touch and see that the ring is inside there. Go ahead and examine that. And I'm going to take the other napkin over here. We're just going to ball this up real quick. And you can, again, touch that, examine that, see that it's in there. And what we're going to do is very simple. I'm actually going to have you do a bit of a science experiment here. We'll do it together. I've got the ring in this one. I've got an empty napkin over here. And I want you to just listen to this. Listen to what we do here. Ring, ring, napkin, ring, napkin. Now listen. Napkin, go ahead and open up those napkins. And you would do that. I would have the spectator do it, keep my hands off so that I'm not accused of doing any switchery. And of course, if they do that, they would open it and they would see that no ring and ring. So this comes from an idea that was posed on the last video by YouTube handle Steve Wonderbrooks, who may or may not be Steve Brooks of the Magic Cafe. You never know online. But he mentioned that this use is the only other thing that he could think about in terms of unorthodox uses for a thumb tip. Another example of this is actually a trick I do impromptu whenever the pressure's on and I can't think of anything else. I've done this before. Did this actually at I'm a school teacher. I did this at a faculty meeting one time where just as a breakout session, team building kind of thing, they wanted to do an impromptu talent show if anybody had a talent to exhibit right there, right then. And I was on a team and no one had anything. And I said, well, I'll do something. I said, everybody take out a bunch of change. And I took the change up and I did this little thing. But here is an kind of an upgrade to what it was. I had some change there and I asked a person, I said, just name any denomination that you see, one that we can use. They said something, like a nickel, right? And I go, okay, good, we'll take the nickel. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to watch this closely. Hard nickel, and I want you to place this in your hand. And just watch closely. Gone. Absolutely gone. So it's a no coin vanish. No coin vanish. That's all it was. In my case, I just did a fake pick from a pile. I quickly got to business, put it right under their nose and did it. And the coin vanished. And it's all about the presentation. The method really means nothing. It's about the elevation of tension and the agility at which you get to the point. That's it. And I won the talent show. I mean, people did all kinds of goofy things, but just that dumb idea that I had on the spur of the moment with some loose change was highly effective in that moment. However, I wasn't able to do this. Right? I didn't have that capability. It wasn't even in my mind to use a thumb tip in that way. So this is this is the idea. Still got that cough going. The idea is that a thumb tip can be used as a support, as we discussed with the card situation, standing card or some other kind of support mechanism to make something suspend. It can be used as a holdout device for items that are even much larger than its payload, just because it is a ring and things can be jammed in there and held kind of against the arm or against the backside of the hand, places that are not visible and show emptiness. It can be used as a holdout. It can be used as a magnetic holdout. It can be used as a PK device, which is actually a more traditional use for a thumb tip, but one that's, I think, underused by people because of other devices. But it's a very good one because it can be ditched. You don't have to have it on you all the time, and it's invisible, quite invisible. It has a lot of versatility in terms of magnetic effects, and it can be used as a form. It actually takes up space, can be put under things and be used as a form, like in the ring trick, where it can mimic the presence of a ring, and then the ring can be felt and sensed when really the ring is long gone and has been put into another location. The addition here is that it can be used as a sound generating device. I did not think about this, and this is probably something a lot of you have done before with a thumb tip, but I really haven't thought about that. And probably one of the reasons is because, like with wearing a wedding band and doing coin magic, I've always been concerned about knocking coins against my ring until the day that I realized, well, this isn't really a liability, it's actually an asset. I can use my ring to indicate the presence of a coin that isn't there, right? Likewise, a thumb tip can do very much the same thing. When you're often worried about, I often worry about knocking it against the table or something when I have to pick something. I have to pick up my ring, and I don't want to knock it, in such a way that it would tip off what's going on. If I have to pick up something, more so if I pick up something soft, like a napkin, I don't want to do that, right? You don't want people to hear that. However, you could do it on purpose. You could use it as a sound generating device. So in this case here, where we place the ring underneath the napkin, and I use the thumb tip as the form, as I discussed in a previous video, where the thumb tip's actually standing in for the ring, and I'm able to pass off the ring to the other hand, and I can show the ring in the napkin as a form when I've palmed out my real ring, right? And over here, while this is being examined and someone can touch that and sense that and see that, I'm able to place the actual ring into a napkin without anybody paying any mind to it. Just do it, right? Got my napkin over here. I've got my ring over here. And now comes the fun part where I can get rid of the thumb tip. Nice thing about napkins, too, is that I've stolen my thumb tip away, but the napkin still holds the form. And I've already demonstrated that it is a ring, right? It's the old salt shaker on the table trick. But the ring is gone, but the napkin holds the form. So I can actually dispose of the thumb tip way ahead of actually crumpling up the ring. Just an idea there about using a thumb tip for a form. It can be helpful to use some kind of cover that holds shape. Just another tip. Another tip for tips. So here we have the ring, and I can now bunch this up inside of the napkin, and I have a sound generating device, right? As long as I have my ring over here situated so that I can make it knock on the table, I can also get a knock over here, right, from my thumb tip. So what I do is just theatrics. I've got my ring over here, knock over here. I just knock my finger against the table and hold the ring back, right? Knock. And then I get to a point where I do this, no sound, and I just swap it with a ring, right? I just push the ring down, I get sound. And now I'm left in a situation where there's been nothing between these two. There's been no movement whatsoever. I can set down both napkins, back away in subtlety, showing emptiness, right? I don't even have to mention that my hands are empty. There's no reason to. But back away in subtlety, show the hands empty, and ask the spectator to take these apart, and they'll see that the ring is gone from this side. The ring has arrived at this side. You can work out your own handling, make it cleaner, but it's just an idea. Using the thumb tip as a sound generating device. For the coins, again, no coin vanish. If you have a pile of coins and they ask for, I usually do this just kind of as an aside. The reason why this popped in my mind in that moment to do a no coin vanish in this way was it was a quick and dirty and easy way for me to avoid sleight of hand in an environment where I was completely surrounded. That was the best I could come up with. So if I had a bunch of things, a bunch of coins there in that moment, I could say, you just name a denomination and really make no point of that in the end. Just as a setup, name the denomination, reach down pretend to pick up that coin, and there's no way to know if I've picked up a coin or not. And I can move on, right, and do my vanish. In this case, I do the false pick, right, and I pick up nothing, and I can tap it because I have the thumb tip in hand on a table. And in my presentation was a little bit bad. I'm not going to reshoot the video for that, but I said a hard nickel. No reason to do that, right? It could say we've got a nickel, and I want you to watch right here, and then you can make it vanish, do the subtlety, show it this way, that way, whatever, show it empty, and then withdraw, get rid of the thumb tip, ditch it. You could be more aggressive with this, though. You could do maybe something like this, where you have a coin, and you knock it on the table and show it in subtlety, and then you could go to pick up the coin, right? And as you do that, you drop it into the hand back here, and then you can knock it again. And now I'm in a situation where I've actually transferred the coin to another place, another location. So now I could, pick up a glass or something like that. I could reach over and pick up a glass. I could tap the coin against the bottom of the glass, and then I could, all in an instant, have the coin go through the glass. Regular coin, regular glass, completely impromptu. I just have my thumb tip, my unloaded all-purpose thumb tip on me so that I can generate sound at fingertips. Brilliant, brilliant. I never thought of it. That wasn't on my mind. So I'm glad Steve Wonderbrooks, or Steve Brooks, if that's you, don't know. I'm glad you mentioned it. Because that's a really, really good addition. This is why we do this, right? You come up with an idea, I'm happy to share it and expound on it and expand it and share it out so we can improve our repertoire and increase our uses for common, apparatus like a thumb tip. One of those things, it's just one of those things that people buy. They do the silk vanish. And then, or they do some other kind of thing. They buy it for the bill switch or something, and then they stop doing that trick, so they just put it away, But it's such a versatile gimmick. You really can just carry a plain thumb tip, unloaded, prepared for nothing, in your pocket all the time, and do a good handful of unrelated effects. These effects have no relationship to each other. I could string together several borrowed item effects using a thumb tip that I've just described on these few videos here, and have a good solid 15 minutes of magic. And the only thing I had on me was a regular thumb tip. It's the only thing I had, right? So anyway, that's it. The School of Hard Knocks. Sound generating device with a thumb tip. Oh, one other one that was mentioned on there. I don't have a handling worked out for this, but you could do. One idea was that you could indicate the presence of an invisible item, right, by tapping with a pen on the invisible item, right? Something that's still there. I don't have a handling worked out, but if you can generate sound against the items, kind of like the rattle, right? The rattle box, if you're familiar with that, where you have a rattle that's actually under the sleeve, banded under the sleeve, and you can take an empty box and rattle it and set it down. Very similar kind of idea. You're generating the sound back here, right? Tapping, tap, 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 tap. You can see that the item is still there. Or at least I can see it, right? You can try that. That's you can find the handling for that. But using it as a sound generating device, either by itself or in association with some other item to get what you need. So yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea, nice addition. So whole bunch of things you can do with that. Sound generating device. Good luck with that. Happy magicking.